All right, it is 5:30. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. We'll go through the agenda to get ready for our 6 o'clock council meeting. Approval of minutes. There were no changes. Any questions? All right, set public hearings. Ordinance 234565, approve rezoning for tract of land containing 1.41 acres, more or less, from an M1 light industry district to a B5 central business district located at 211 First Avenue Southeast. Set public hearing for September 5th, 2023. Tommy, there you are. No changes. Any questions? That's for the farmer's market. All right, public hearings, resolution 23014, approve abatement of unsafe conditions at 16 Cherry Street Northeast. Public hearing was set July 17th, 2023.
No change on that one. I did want to bring it to the attention of the council, though, that I've given Ms. Simon a revised ordinance or resolution after we did the asbestos testing, and based on the old cost estimate, that the expense could be greater, and just wanted to do due diligence in trying to cover that.
Went to 40,000.
Yes.
Okay. That was the only change I know
Yes.
of. Any other questions? All right, resolution 23169, approve abatement of unsafe conditions at 305 7th Avenue Northwest. Public hearing was set July 3rd, 2023. Okay, no changes. Any questions? Ordinance 234558, approve pre-zoning request 141723 for 19.59 acres, more or less, located at 2709 Beltline Road Southwest to M1A Expressway Commercial District. Public hearing was set June 5th, 2023, and then it was tabled at the July 3rd meeting.
I just wanted to be known that it is going to be on the August 29th or the September 12th agenda for the county. And I just thought we're going to go ahead with this, leave it on the agenda for today, and move forward.
Okay. Any questions? All right, resolution 23194, approve request for class 2 lounge license, off-premise beer, wine, and liquor for Career LLC, doing business as Primo Liquor Store at 903 6th Avenue, Decatur, Alabama. Lori? Any questions? Resolution 23195, approve request for off-premise beer and wine license for SRB Store Incorporated, doing business as Your Store, 1517 West Moulton Street Northwest. Any questions? Anything on the weed abatements, David? All right, any questions on those? Resolutions, resolution 23203, approve the major modification to ADEM for an increase in the average daily waste volume for the Decatur Morgan County landfill.
So there are no changes, but I've gotten a few phone calls about this major modification. And I want to make it very clear that we're not taking in 3,000 tons per day. We're not even close. Today we took in 1,335 tons, and most of that was trees because of the storms that we had over the weekend. And I just want to make sure that everyone understands that we take in, have been a few days, especially recently, where we have been at that 1,500 ton mark, and that's why I requested that when Sherrick McAnally was doing the major modification application, that we add that, hey, let's increase our tonnage, just so that we can stay within our permit regulations.
Sure.
Okay.
Any questions? Thanks, Wanda. Resolution 23204, approve purchase of trailer lights for beautification litter trailers. Any questions? Resolution 23205, approve Volkert Incorporated as construction engineering and inspection consultant for the 6th Avenue Improvement Project. Any questions? Resolution 23206, authorize the mayor to sign the ALDOT city agreement for the 7 Brew Coffee on the 6th Avenue. All right, any questions? Resolution 23207, approve aid to construction for downtown streetlight painting and fixture replacement, Moulton Street. We added 2. Okay. Any other questions? Resolution 23208 declares surplus equipment no longer needed by landfill department and street department. Any questions? Resolution 23209, award bid number 23002R for improvements at police training facility to U.S. Constructors LLC.
No
Bid.
changes on that.
Okay. It was a bid, Kyle, I didn't know. Any questions? Resolution 23210, approve the purchase of clear span structure for the covered pickleball facility.
No changes unless there's questions.
All right, and the same for the tennis facility, no changes. Any questions? Resolution 23212, approve purchase of vehicle for Parks and Recreation Department. Any questions? Resolution 23213, authorize mayor to execute Frameworks Design Services contract for proposed DYS facility. Any changes? Any questions? Resolution 23214, accept $2,500 Air Products donation for the police department.
No changes.
Any questions? Resolution 23215, approve request for revocation of business license for Genesis LLC, doing business as Las Villas Mexican Grill, 6th Avenue at 2224 6th Avenue Southeast.
Yeah, on this one, his brother did come in and pay $4,000 in a certified check towards what he owes today. He still owes $3,035.43, which he said he plans to pay off within the next 2 weeks.
And the way we discussed last week, that would be fine to go ahead and move forward with the conditional. And then on September 5th, I think, there would be another discussion before the council to make that
You would
permanent.
decide at that point whether to make that revocation or suspension permanent.
But they can still operate in between
Yes.
Yes.
those times. All right, any questions? All right, resolution 23216, approve purchase of vehicles for Decatur Fire and Rescue. Any questions? Ordinance 234566, approve model airplane club lease at landfill, and this is a first reading. Okay, any questions? Ordinances, ordinance 234560, approve annexation request 37423 for approximately 19.59 acres located at 2709 Beltline Road Southwest, first reading June 20th, 2023.
Yeah, that just matches up with the pre-zone.
Okay, no changes. All right, any questions on that one? Ordinance 234564, approve request for John Clem MS Arts, doing business as Johnny Cab, located at 2427 Chadsworth Street Southwest, to operate a chauffeur service on the streets of Decatur, first reading July 17th, 23.
No changes.
Any questions? All right, boards and committees, appoint Barbara Kelly to the Architectural Review Board, term expiring March 19th, 2026. Any questions? And then there's a mayoral appointment of Jerry Baker to the Housing Authority Board, term expiring August 5th, 2028. All right, we will get started with our meeting at 6 o'clock. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Dane Shaw will lead us in our invocation pledge.
Father, we are grateful again to be able to come together for the city. We ask for your wisdom and your strength as we make decisions, and we give you all the glory and praise in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Dane. Roll call.
Leitner.
Here.
McMasters.
Here.
Jackson. Here. Hyde.
Here.
Pepper.
All right, and just to clarify, Mr. McMasters is not feeling well, and he has called in, and we'll be voting. All right, moving into our agenda, approval of minutes. We'll take A and then B and C together. All right, July 10th, 2023, 5 p.m. work session. Motion by Mr. Pepper. Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Leitner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Hyde.
Aye.
Pepper.
A is approved 5-0, then B and C.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Leitner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Abstain.
Hyde.
Aye.
Pepper.
Those are approved 4-0 with one abstention. Next, we have set public hearing, ordinance 234565, approved rezoning for a tract of land containing 1.41 acres more or less from an M1 light industry district to B5 central business district located at 211 First Avenue Southeast. Set public hearing for September 5th, 2023.
All right, I'm Tommy Williams with the Planning Department, and this is a rezoning of the farmer's market located at 211 First Street. And it's 1.4 acres land, it's 1.41 acres of land. And the request is to rezone it from M1 light industry to B5 central business district. And this passed the planning commission on the 18th of July, 6-0.
All right, any questions? All right, public hearings, resolution 23014, approve abatement of unsafe conditions at 16 Cherry Street Northeast. Public hearing was set July 17th, 2023. Chris.
To the council, Chris Wilbanks with Community Development. This has been an ongoing nuisance to the city, and we asked to just move forward with the abatement on the condemned building.
All right, this is a public hearing. We'll open the public hearing now. If there's anyone here to speak on this item, can speak now. All right, seeing no one here to speak, we'll consider the public hearing closed.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pepper. Any discussion? Roll call.
Leitner.
Aye.
McMasters. McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Hyde.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23014 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23169, approve abatement of unsafe conditions at 305 7th Avenue Northwest. Public hearing was set July 3rd, 2023.
Gentlemen, this was a burnout that we had over on the south, northwest side. We asked that it's a public nuisance and condemned, and we asked to just move forward with the abatement.
All right, this is a public hearing as well. We'll open the public hearing now. All right, seeing no one here to speak, we'll consider the public hearing closed. Motion by Mr. Jackson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Pepper.
Oh,
That's fine.
that's,
It doesn't
I
matter.
heard both at the same time, so Pepper's good. We'll go with Pepper. Roll call.
Leitner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Hyde.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
All right, resolution 23169 is approved 5-0. Ordinance 234558, approved pre-zoning request 141723 for 19.59 acres more or less, located at 2709 Beltline Road Southwest to M1A Expressway Commercial District. Public hearing was set June 5th, 2023, and was tabled at the July 3rd, 2023 meeting.
All right, this is a pre-zoning of 19.59 acres. It's currently not located in the city. It's currently not zoned. It's located at 2709 Beltline Road Southwest. The Planning Commission approved this May 23rd, 7-0. And the Board of Zoning Adjustments approve the use on appeal to construct a multifamily, July 28th. The county did put that on their agenda for August the 29th or September the 12th. And this pre-zoning is a condition of the subdivision by the county and the annexation from the city council.
Thanks, Tommy. This is a public hearing. We'll open the public hearing now. If there's anyone here to speak. All right, seeing no one here to speak, we'll consider the public hearing closed.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Wagner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Ordinance 23-4558 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23-194, approved request for Class 2 lounge license off-premise beer, wine, and liquor for Career LLC doing business as Primo Liquor Store at 9036 Avenue Northeast, Decatur, Alabama 35601.
Okay, this is, they're at the bait and tackle store, is what it used to be, next to the Shell, and they have satisfied all the requirements.
All right, this is a public hearing. We'll open the public hearing now if there's anyone here to speak. All right, seeing no one here to speak, we'll consider the public hearing closed.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Wagner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-194 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23-195, approved request for off-premise beer and wine license for SRB Store Incorporated doing business as Your Store at 1517 West Moulton Street Northwest, Decatur, Alabama 35601.
And this is next to the NAFCO. I think you asked about that last time on West Moulton Street. It's a change in ownership.
All right, this is a public hearing. We'll open the public hearing now if there's anyone here to speak. All right, seeing no one here to speak, we'll consider the public hearing closed.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Wagner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
All right, resolution 23-195 is approved 5-0. And before we move into weed abatements, Andrea, I'm sorry, I completely forgot to ask for public comment. Do you want to wait to the end or do you want to go ahead now?
Whatever's more.
Mr. Fortin as well would need to speak.
Whatever's more convenient. I do have some trash comments though, late when we get into that.
Okay.
On resolution A.
Yeah, I got you on that, but I apologize for not
I'll
opening.
wait.
Okay.
I'll keep you guessing.
That's even better. All right, we'll move into weed abatements. Do we want to take them all at once or individually?
I've set a bad precedent, but we'll go in and do them as one.
All right, we'll take these at once.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Jackson.
No, not by Mr. Jackson.
I'm
Second.
sorry,
Second.
Mr. Pike. I got you. Any discussion? Anything on these?
No, nothing new, I'm just here if y'all have questions.
I'm still gonna point out the way through the woods, that still getting comments. I know there's probably nothing we can do on that particular house right now, but just something to keep an eye on, so.
Well, there were actually more properties on the way through the woods that we've been dealing with than I realized when
Yeah.
I asked about it. But I think we do have something, or someone's aware of it and got an eye on it.
Okay,
And I've always said that, and you guys have heard it before, but, and I think it's important that we kind of cover from time to time that I do think that everyone needs to mow their own grass and they need to keep up their property. But I don't think that we as a city are doing an adequate job of doing what we're supposed to do. We have overgrown right-of-ways, and I just think that it's almost a do as I say and not as I do attitude, so I will not support these tonight.
all right, any other discussion? We do have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Wagner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
The weed abatements are approved 4-1. Resolution 23203, approve the major modification to ADEM for an increase in the average daily waste volume for the Decatur Morgan County landfill. Wanda?
Wanda Tyler, Landfill and Recycling. We're asking for your approval for this major modification to increase the maximum average daily volume of waste that we intake at the Decatur Morgan County Regional Landfill from 1,500 tons per day to 3,000 tons per day. And please note that that is an average. We currently take in, like today, like I had explained earlier, about 1,300 to 1,500 tons. And this will allow us to stay within our permit regulations because it's an average overall. There are some days we have taken in about 1,700 to 1,800 tons. And like I said, this makes me feel better by having a higher acceptable tonnage rate that's approved by ADEM. So just in case like another major storm comes in tomorrow, today we brought in 1,300, tomorrow it could be 2,000. Just making sure that we stay within that maximum average.
All right, we did have one person sign up for public comment on this one, Miss Andrea Hoffmeyer Wilson. You know the rules, right?
I do,
Thank
and hope I'll try to keep it at 3 minutes. Okay. Thank you for hearing my comments here about our trash. So we've come a long way actually in Alabama. In 2008, we had some of the estimated lowest landfill fees in the country. But then over that following decade, the fees and other requirements were put in place to solve the problem of the fact that we were actually a dumping ground for a lot of other states. What I'm concerned about here is that Decatur Morgan landfill is positioning itself to become a dumping ground for other municipalities and other counties. So I suggest that before we increase, I would agree that we should increase our tonnage for us. But the thing is that we are so cheap. If you look at what it is throughout the rest of the state, we've gone up to, I think you said $30 per ton. We were at 26. On June 1st, Calhoun County went up to 50 pounds a ton, 30 pounds for construction. Hartsville's at $62 a ton. Montgomery's $42 a ton plus a $100 fee for anything like medical waste and stuff like that. Lawrence, they send it to the Morris Farm Sanitary Landfill, $49.58 a ton plus an $18 fee plus a fuel fee. Limestone County, it goes through public services. You have to go to the transfer station, then they send it to Hillsborough. A jaw-dropping $92 a ton. There's a few others. Everyone that I've looked into is, the national average is $53 a ton, and Southeast United States average is $46 a ton. The other thing that's very notable is that Shelby, if you're from the county, if it's refuse from the county, it's $22 a ton. That's old. They said they're going to be updating it from 2009. Out of county is $30 a ton. So that's another thing. So two things I propose. Let's raise our fee overall, and let's also make it more expensive for garbage coming from outside the county so that we don't just become a dumping ground. Because if we double our daily allowance and then everybody around us starts taking advantage of us, we're gonna run out of room for our trash.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ms. Hoffmeyer Wilson. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Pepper. Any discussion?
Just to add to that, I see what you're saying, Ms. Wilson. That does make really good sense. Is if we're a cheaper price, people are going to go out of their way to come here to dump their trash and whatnot. So I think that's something that we need to look into soon to raise our prices. Even though we did just do an increase on pricing. Now that I know, I did not know that other areas charge nearly $20 more than we do, just to be able to dump things. So I would go out of my way to save a little that extra dollar. So
Let me add, one I need to ask you, and I've kind of wrestled with this thing for the past week. We're actually doubling our tonnage rate, correct? The allowable tonnage rate.
Yes, and it's only because I want to stay within compliance. It has nothing to do, okay, so our permit will only allow us to take within a 50-mile radius, okay? So not everyone can come and dump with us. Our permit says that, hey, if you're in a certain part of Tennessee that's over the 50-mile radius, no, you can't. Now, you can go to Morris Farms in Lawrence County, because I think they have they're over 50. I think it's more like 100 mile radius. But for us, it's only 50 miles.
I guess,
So-
oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were
Go
finished,
on.
I apologize. I guess my concern is that we have, my concern is that it seems that we could have gone up 20 tons per day. I guess it's just, I don't know, I'm bothered by the fact that we're almost doubling the rate, because I think that our landfill, what's the life of our landfill now? What is it, about 21 years, 22 years?
25 years.
We still got 25 years?
About 25.
See, I didn't think it was quite that much.
Yeah, it depends. Like, you know, new compactor came in, that's gonna help with our airspace. So it's just, there's some factors that we can put in, and, you know, having reliable equipment is one of them. But, yeah, right now, that sale lasted us a little over 4 years.
Yeah, and I guess see, I was thinking it was right at 20 years, 25 years, let's just go 25 years. That's gonna go by so quickly. That's gonna, I mean, that time is just gonna go by so quickly. So we're actually, and as far as I know, we don't have any sort of tangible plan to start trying to find another landfill at this particular point. And I could be wrong, but I don't know of any plan that we have to start locating a new landfill. And 25 years is gonna go by really quickly. And now we're increasing the amount of tonnage that we take in. So that's what is of concern to me, is that, you know, we're looking at increasing that, which would in effect lower, the more we bring in, the shorter the time frame becomes, correct?
Right, but again, I didn't do this because we're gonna have 2,000 tons per day. That's not what we're.
I understand.
That's not
You said
the-
the average is much lower than that. I
Yeah,
understand that.
yeah, and I got some reports I can provide to you. But, you know, like I said, today, it was over 1,300, and mainly it was because of the trees and because of the storms. Decatur did a wonderful job bringing everything in that they could today, and I'm sure it'll be more tomorrow. So yeah, it's like I said, we didn't do this because the main reason I went from 15 to 3,000 was because we spent $27,000 for a major modification. And that was to cap cells 2 through 11. And a part of that application, I added this tonnage increase. Mainly because we're almost there in regards to the 1,500 tons per day on average. So, like I said, it's some days 1,500 per day. Today it was 1,300. So we're there. So yeah, I doubled it, mainly because I don't want to go back before you all with another $27,000, because I might be at 1,800 tons, you know, in a year.
I fully understand.
So I was, yeah.
Go ahead. I mean, I'm sorry. I'll cut you off again. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that was my logic behind it, not because we're gonna accept, you know, an average of 3,000 on average.
I guess my biggest concern is that we're looking at such a limited amount of time left with our landfill. And we're increasing that, or we're not necessarily increasing that tonnage, but we're increasing the opportunity for the tonnage to come in on a daily basis. And that that concerns me significantly, that we're running out of space and we don't have a plan on the table to expand things. So anyway, I'm sort of torn with this, but okay. You've answered my question. Thank you.
Any other discussion? I would just say, I do agree, you know, we do need to really start in earnest making plans for expansion of the landfill. I know there's been some discussion of that, but we need to do that. I think that's a good point. I think as far as for me, as far as the tonnage. So you're not, the way it's set up now, it's 1,500. If you go beyond that average, you will be fined.
I will be fine.
Right,
As long
like
as
you're
it's
still gonna
average.
take the garbage, right?
Yes.
But your permit only allows for 1,500 average, and if you go beyond that, you'll get a fine.
I could,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
And I don't disagree with that, but it just almost appears that we've got an idea that our tonnage is gonna increase, even though, like I said, you don't expect it. We're doubling that amount.
So let's say.
What if it did? Then what do you, like, what if literally there was 2,800 tons coming on average? What would?
But it's not coming from Decatur, and we've got a 50-mile radius.
So let me say
We
this.
got a 50-mile radius.
So
and with
your
that 50-mile
solution would be
radius,
to make it
we pretty
smaller.
much have an idea of what's coming in and what's gonna come in. We do have that, and, I mean, we pretty much have an idea of what's gonna come in.
Yeah, we got
So-
a lot of industry, you know, Decatur.
And we've had a lot of industry,
Yes,
so
and we
that's not
take
changing.
you know, everything from pretty much around in Decatur in regards to industry. But, and that's on average between 1,100. But if, like a storm that came in this past weekend, let's say I took 1,100 tons outside of what Decatur brought in. And also, and that was about 400, almost 400 tons of trees today. I'm right there at it. I'm at 1,500 for the day. And let's say tomorrow, because they didn't finish, and I do the same thing. So it's just me trying to stay in compliance.
I understand, but, you know, by the same token, we only have so many capabilities to move all of this stuff that came down yesterday. So we can't, Daniel can't bring in more than he's capable of bringing in, so he probably brought in the max that he could bring in today. So I guess just the doubling of the tonnage just concerned me because, again, we're running out of space, and I just want, there's nothing, well, I don't even need to ask that, but it just concerns me. It almost appears that something is on the horizon where we're expecting that tonnage to go up. And
You're not aware of anything, or another municipality, any
No.
county
No.
within
But if-
50 miles?
I'm personally hoping Cherokee opens back.
Well, I think it's a given that,
But, you know.
that our region is growing. That 50-mile radius is growing. We're getting new residents, new businesses, and with that, we're going to see more tonnage at the landfill.
Definitely. I
Okay.
mean, as long as we grow a new subdivision, we get an increase in tonnage.
Right.
And then whenever we recently adjusted the rates, it was done while looking at the rates within the region as well,
Right.
because we didn't want to get out of line.
Exactly. And plus, we are an enterprise fund, municipal enterprise fund, so, and we shouldn't be making a profit per se, if I understand the law. But we have to be self-sustained.
And
We have to take care of ourselves.
there's risk.
Right, exactly.
But while the region around us is growing, it still appears that, you know, we should have something on the table. And Jacob has acknowledged that we need something on the table to say that we're looking at expanding, we're looking at a new landfill, and we haven't done that. And I would think that before we started expanding that number to increase, even if it's regional, we need to have that on the table before we increase that number twofold.
Yeah, and I agree, whether it's 20 years or 30 years, we still need to be thinking about that. So if we were to increase, say we were to start taking 2,800 tons a day, how much do you think that shortens the lifespan of the landfill? I mean, if we're saying 25 years now, we're saying right now around that 15, I mean,
So right
is it
now-
5 years or is it 10 years?
So right now, that would be more than twice of what we take in now, which could happen, I don't know. I don't know where I would get that from, but.
Right,
But
I
based
mean,
on,
in
but what I'm
regards
based
saying
on
to-
what
is-
he's saying,
However,
based
It
on
could
what
be
he's
12 to
saying,
15.
if we double
Yeah.
the,
will it shorten the lifespan? Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
cuts it in half.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'm doubling, yes.
So regardless whether it's 12 years or 25 years, the thought is to look at another option.
Yes,
And also, I mean, not to state the obvious, but you know this, and so if you're tracking, like Mr. Jackson said, we know how much we expect, and all of a sudden we've got to really look at that, and maybe it is taking less from those around us or charge a lot more for that, but as of now, that number is not ticking up.
Yes.
Didn't you just say that even if we don't increase it, we still take more than 1,500 a day? Didn't you just say you took 1,700 the other day, 1,800 the other day?
Yes.
In one
Yes,
day.
in
In
one
one
day.
day.
In one day, yes, I did.
Okay.
Would you continue to take in more than 1,500 if we said that?
I mean, and notice this is an average, you know. One day last week it was only 1,000. So it just depends on what's going on with our haulers, with, like I said, if there was a storm, if a plant had a major,
Outage.
yeah, and so it just depends on the intake, it just depends on where it's coming from, yeah.
Would a 50% increase be more palatable and manageable versus an outright doubling of it, Wanda?
If that would make you all feel, better, yes. I'm only
You're
doing
gonna
this
get that amount
because,
of trash no matter what that you increase it
I'm
to.
only doing this because, like I said, I wanna stay in compliance.
Right.
And also, I have the opportunity not to spend another $27,000 for a major modification when I see that I am, over the average maximum daily, weights average that we take in. So that was my justification. If y'all feel better about 2,000 or 2,200, just let me know.
I would say 2,000 sounds like a good number.
There's already been a motion and a second for 3,000, right?
Then I'll, can I not make a motion to table this? I can make a motion to table this now, can I?
This is a public hearing.
Well, it's not listed as one.
It is,
It's
Well, no, this is a resolution. Oh, well, I guess a resolution.
I,
I'd like to make a motion to table.
we have a motion to table for Mr. Pepper.
Yes, we published in a newspaper and I mean, what was it, for 30 days? And it's, now it's done. And this coming before council and also the county.
Well, do we have a second to table?
Ouch.
All right, hearing no second, we'll disregard that, but go ahead.
Can I ask
Yeah.
you real quick? Nathan Tomberlin, Puride McAnally. And one thing I do want to add also is the city owns about 150 acres that's contiguous to the current permitted landfill that would be applicable for modification to expand the landfill. So that's not being accounted into that 25 years, as Ms. Tyler stated earlier.
Yeah.
Can you say, Nathan, how many years that would, you'd include that 150 acres?
We would have to do some preliminary design work to come up with a number for you, but, I mean, we could do that relatively quickly, yes.
Before we leave tonight?
It would roughly double, it's about the same amount of area that we currently have permitted, so it would roughly double that number of 20, 25 years.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Nathan. On this, for me, is just, we could make it 5,000, 3,000, 1,000. You're still managing that load. And if there was a major change to that, we would have to adjust our procedures, our policy, no matter what. You're just trying to stay within compliance of what you're seeing, and we're pushing up on what our current permit allows us. And so you're trying to make that difference. But your management of the landfill does not change based on what we do here. So I don't support any changing of the 3,000 unless you wanted to change that down the road. Now, Herman, do I need to open this up as a public hearing, although it's not listed that way? Okay, this is a public hearing, so if there's anyone else besides Ms. Hoffmeyer Wilson that would like to speak on this item, you can speak now, and I see two. So, Blake, do you want to go first? Or Nathan? Okay.
All right, so also, Nathan Tomberlin, Puride McAnally. So this is tied to our major mod with the Captain project as well. So any delays on this would delay the approval for the Captain.
Okay.
So just want to make that sense.
All right, and Ms. Bibby, I believe.
Paige Bibby, Decatur, Alabama. I didn't expect to talk, but I have some questions, Wanda. you raised a good point. You said, or acted as if the landfill should make a profit, which I agree with, because it is an enterprise. It should not make a profit.
Miss,
Right.
Miss,
Okay, you're an enterprise.
Miss Bibby, do you, I know you've been in this seat before. Can you just address the question I asked, and we'll get with
Sorry,
my
well, I was
next
just trying to
question. You're
address her and not have my back to her. I apologize. Does the city, Herman, have any liabilities right now to the enterprise fund at the landfill?
We have what?
Any liabilities, any loans from?
Yes.
We have, how many?
Well, I don't know, I'm not prepared, I know it's at least one.
So we have loans against that enterprise account right now, currently the city of Decatur, correct?
The city of Decatur owes the landfill.
And you don't know
I
the
think we got two, if I'm not mistaken.
It's one or two, I'm not really sure.
Ingalls? And we don't know that total of
Well,
liability?
that would be something to see if.
I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I can get that for you.
Okay. Just curious about that. Also, the county has not voted yet. Didn't we say the 29th of August?
Yes,
Is-
or September 12th,
Okay,
but the
so
first would be the
I would be
29th.
curious to see if they have thoughts or comments about the same things that are addressed this evening. And as far as the, 125 acres, I believe is what Nathan said, but I can't look at him, obviously.
Well, I just.
That has to be
appreciate the questions
licensed and go through the
to us.
ADM process. Is that correct? Is that correct? Sorry. That is a process, right?
I would
ADM has
assume
to
so.
approve that land.
So would any other
I'm sure it's a
property.
very
Yeah, but
lengthy process.
yeah, how long is that process on average? Does anybody know?
I don't.
Okay. That just, I think, goes along with the concerns that a couple, Mr. Jackson has, as well as some residents, of that process probably needs to be in the works, because that's gonna be a very important aspect. You want I would say, a pretty fluid change from one landfill to the next, because you're gonna have to, as we know, those are expensive to open sales and close sales.
Yeah, I
And
think
that
we
goes
all
up every
agree with
day.
that.
Yeah, so those are just my comments. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Ms. Bibby. Anyone else want to speak? Well, the public hearing is open. All right, seeing no one else to speak, we'll consider the public hearing closed. We do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion from the council? All right, roll call.
Flagler.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
No.
Resolution 23203 is approved 3-2. Resolution 23204, approved purchase of trailer lights for beautification litter trailers.
Good evening, council. Danny Butler, Environmental Services. We're just asking to move $8,450 from our current funded beautification budget. We want to move it from operating to capital to purchase safety lights.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pepper, and this was in our budget for beautification. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Wagner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23204 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23205, approved Volker Incorporated as construction engineering and inspection consultant for the 6th Avenue Improvement Project.
Alan Stover, Community Development Manager. This is a resolution to approve Volker as our CE&I consultant on our 6th Avenue project. This is the TAP grant portion of the 6th Avenue. I know that, we're concurrently running together some other things on 6th Avenue, but this would be for the TAP grant. And what this resolution will allow us to do is select them, and then it authorizes the mayor to negotiate to get a price, and then we'll bring that back again. But this is just what we have to do for the grant.
It's for the sidewalks.
For the sidewalks,
Yeah.
yes.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike, second by Mr. Pepper.
Alan, is it correct, doesn't that have to be let by the end of the year, on the
Yes,
TAP grant?
yes.
Has
And we have
Volker
been
given
in-
any indication as to how soon? I feel like this thing's been dragging on for far too long, but have they given any indication on the sidewalks, how long it would take to be prepared to bid?
We have been in negotiations, or not negotiations, I'm sorry. We have talked to Volker extensively, Dana and I have, and they are aware of the deadlines that we're under. We do have, and I've talked to AlDOT about the possibility, if we had to, we could request maybe an extension, but we hope we don't have to do that. And also, it's to authorize the project. Our deadline is to have the project authorized. And, there's some other things that could factor into that AlDOT is holding up that authorization, but hopefully we can get that done.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call.
Widener.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Hyde.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23205 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23206, authorize the mayor to sign the AlDOT City Agreement Form MB06A, Cooperative Maintenance SR3, US 31, Sidewalk, 6th Avenue, 7 Brew Coffee Stand.
Mayor, Council, Carl Pruitt, City Engineer. This is like a lot of the other improvements that's been done along 6th Avenue in their right of way, that the state requires a maintenance agreement between municipality and them for them to move forward with their permit.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Widener.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Hyde.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23206 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23207, approve aid to construction for downtown street light painting and fixture replacement on Moulton Street.
This is to do some street light painting and fixture replacement, partnering with Decatur Utilities, and this is just to approve the aid to construction.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike.
This doesn't include those street signs, does it?
No.
Those were already
Second.
approved. Second by Mr. Pepper. Any discussion? Roll call.
Widener.
Aye.
McMasters.
No.
Jackson.
Aye.
Hyde.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23207 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23208, declare surplus equipment no longer needed by landfill department and street department.
Kyle Demeester Finance, this is a resolution to put a Case Quad tractor, an Ashland scraper, and 2 utility trailers for surplus.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Widener.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Hyde.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23208 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23209, award bid number 23002R for improvements at police training facility to U.S. Constructors LLC.
Yes, so this is the second time we've bid this out. We sent it to 6 representatives. One responsible vendor replied. That was U.S. Constructors, and the amount was $261,250, and this has been previously budgeted.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Widener.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Hyde.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23209 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23210, approve the purchase of clear span structure for the covered pickleball facility.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Jason Lake, Parks and Recreation. This is to purchase the clear span structure that would cover our pickleball courts that we'll be putting out at Point Milam. So we ask for your approval.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike,
Second.
second by Mr. Pepper. Any discussion?
Jason, where exactly is this gonna be?
The pickleball one will be, if you see where the expo's sitting, it'll actually be a little closer to the parking lot on the ice rink side. So, but it'll have the same, as far as the way it sits to the parking lot, it'll be the same.
Now, isn't one of these two going to sit exactly where TC Almond is, on top of TC Almond?
The next one is.
The next one is, okay. And we're spending $2 million roughly on these combined? 2.1 million, actually.
No, they're 2 million apiece.
I'm sorry.
The pickleball is 2 million and the tennis is 2 million.
I think it's, we look at that.
No.
I think it's 1.2 each.
Oh, you're talking about I'm talking about the total project cost. No, these, I have that. This one is 1134,157 for the pickleball, and tennis is 962,159.
Roughly $2.1 million, okay. I just, my concern is very simple. I am in favor of the pickleball community. I like the idea. I don't like the idea of it replacing a rec center that's fully capable at this particular point. There's nothing wrong with the TC Almond. I don't know that we've gotten any sort of structural analysis that says that it's in a bad shape or anything else, and I don't know that we've had any sort of conversation publicly, and this is not necessarily towards you, Jason, but about the removal of TC Almond and to come to this point. I'm not familiar with any public conversation. And while our council says that communities are going to one rec center all around, this is, when I called around to Huntsville and Montgomery and Birmingham and Tuscaloosa and Mobile, larger cities, that's not necessarily the case, or it's not the case. Huntsville has 13 rec centers and soon will have 14. Montgomery has 12 rec centers. Birmingham has 21 with multiple rec centers in certain communities, and they are all set up to deal with that community's needs. Tuscaloosa has 5 and Mobile has 9. They have a total of 15, but 9 rec centers actually. So, you know, I'm in favor of the pickleball, but I don't know that I can support in them actually taking the place of TC Almond, or you know, just at this particular point, it's tough for me to justify $2.1 million when we have so many other things in our city that need to be addressed.
All right, thanks, Mr. Jackson. Any other discussion on this is the pickleball specifically facility?
Yes, sir. Just for clarity, I guess that this, two things. One, what we're voting on, or what the council is voting on, is the clear span is to cover the court, so the court will be separate from this structure. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. There will be a separate resolution for that.
Okay. And the court and this cover is actually on the other side of the road from TC Almond.
Yes, sir, this one is.
Yes, so TC Almond is just, you're taking it down because of some expenses that we don't want to have to invest in.
No, the tennis facility will go there.
The tennis facility will go where TC Almond is, but I think what you're speaking to is, among other things, the HVAC that we have. One of the things that we found out this summer was that there were several of those units, kind of what we ran into with Aquadome, that were having trouble, and they went through and fixed what they could, but to go through that, to keep that building, you know, and now as far as the building itself, structurally, I'm with you. I don't think there is anything. The issue is that little section right there, Jimmy John's is just really taken off. And, you know, we really have a great opportunity to have just a real knockdown tennis center, even better than what we got. And, you know, this new pickleball, everything's pickleball. But in tennis, having 4 courts under there, those will still be able to be used for tournaments. The current bubble that we got that was so kindly donated, and we've been using for a long time, got a lot of good use out of. You know, it'll replace that. We'll take that cover off, and those will be 2 more hard courts that we can use for tournaments.
So those courts will be outdoor now?
Those will be outdoor.
Okay, I learned something there in that.
Well, the bubble, the way that thing worked is the lights were hung up by the same material that bubble's made out of, and it's just not able to do anymore.
I want to go back to pickleball, and I hope I can draw a picture here. So around the city, there's 2 tennis courts here, 2 tennis courts here, 2 tennis courts here and there, and I can go on. And sometimes people will use those, and they've been there for years. But the pickleball community they like to go and come together as a community. That's part of the way that it's built itself. And be able to see their friends, have fellowship together, compete together, exercise together, and be in one spot. And that's what's made it very unique. If you had just 2 courts in one location, 2 courts over here, 2 courts over there, I don't think it would work the same. So that's what makes this so much of a value. Did I say that?
I think that's one of the things with pickleball is I've seen it grow faster than any other sport that I've seen during the time that I've been involved in Parks and Recreation. And what's happened is you know, it took years and years and years to build like our tennis community or our soccer community or those. Think about it. This pickleball community has come really together just in the last couple of years or something like that. And they'll rival right now any community that we have. So, but that's a blessing for Decatur is, you know, our tennis courts, especially some of the ones that weren't at Jimmy John's, they weren't getting the usage that, you know, we were looking for ways to readdress the way some of those were being used. And when pickleball started getting popular, it kind of gave an obvious answer of what could be done with those. People have really taken up, you know, really want more space, want more places to do it. If you look somewhere, you know, instead of recreating the wheel, you always want to work with those that have been successful. You know, Opelika, to me, as far as in-state, has been as successful as anybody with pickleball, and they've just been great talking to them and working with them on information of what they've went through. And,
they actually have 2 of what we're voting on right now.
they started with one just like us, and there were so many people, and they ended up building another. So,
Well, and the mayor said that this is basically being driven by a pickleball community. There's still a basketball community in this,
oh, there is,
in this city, and we're constantly trying to take down rec centers that the basketball community uses. Also, you know, I would like to have looked at different places. I went out, I got called out to the Flint Park, and the tennis courts out there are horrendous. And I think that that would have been an excellent location for us to possibly at least examine that as a possibility, where you could have had a pickleball community if you wanted to. But at this particular point, I am not the $2.1 million. I understand the future growth of pickleball here in the city of Decatur and what people are looking for, but $2.1 million when we have, I mean, yesterday was a great example. We had rain and we had flooding everywhere, everywhere. And so those are things that might need to be addressed more readily, so I will not support that.
and one thing, so I don't get up at the end of the night, our tree crew folks were out till 4 o'clock this morning.
And they did an outstanding job. They did, they really did.
Those guys, they did a great job. I just wanted to mention them today.
No injuries?
No, sir, not yet.
Do you might want to hang out if there's a conversation on the tennis too, but this is for resolution 23-210. Any other discussion? Roll call.
I thought we did them both at the same time.
No, just the pickleball.
Lyden.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Hyde.
Aye.
Pepper.
Resolution 23-210 approved 4-1. Resolution 23-211 approved the purchase of clear span structure for the covered tennis facility.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion?
And all my comments apply here.
Right.
So that's where we're going.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call.
Lyden.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Hyde.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-211 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23-212 approved purchase of vehicle for Parks and Recreation Department.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. Pike.
Yeah, this is a DU vehicle that we're hoping to purchase. It's a F-250 Super Duty. There's no additional funding asked. This comes out of the investment we made at original budget time of the $500,000, and it will replace one of Parks and Rec's 1990s vehicle.
All right, any discussion?
Effectively, we are buying trucks from Decatur Utilities that they have actually they've driven and basically have calculated the usage that they want to get out of those trucks, and they've reached that point. So we're buying.
Right. We're hoping to get to that point, but it's difficult when you have tens and twenties of vehicles that are 30 years old. And it's hard to just come up here and say, give me $3 million to fix it, because in 5 years, you're gonna be in the exact same spot again. So you life cycle these so that you slowly will get there. So this first year of this investment is a great start. We've effectively spent all $500,000. And hopefully, if council continues to make that investment, we will eventually get to the same position DU's in, where we have that position, like you mentioned, to where we're selling them.
We just spent $2.1 million on ClearSpan though. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, to that point, I will do that all day before buying trucks.
yeah.
And I do, to the point of, we're buying DUs on trucks, they're selling them to somebody, right? They're gonna be on gov deals.
Correct. They
So
give
we
us
could go buy it
first-
from somebody else or buy that one.
First right of refusal we have.
Or we could just buy them new.
Very
It's easier
difficult.
said than done, and
Yeah,
very
just buy them
difficult
new.
to find.
And our citizens have already paid for those once. Now we're paying for them again. They're paying for them again. And I understand
The
that
revenues
somebody's
are,
gonna buy it.
the revenues are going to DU as well, so that helps with what they spend for the citizens of Decatur.
Well, you could, but they don't, the citizens don't get any of that back. So, anyway.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
No.
Resolution 23-212 is approved 3-2. Resolution 23-213, authorize mayor to execute frameworks design services contract for proposed DYS facility. Brandon?
Yes, sir. Great day to be here. We have in the last 3 weeks worked with almost 2,000 people, 40 different organizations, and we using probably 5 different buildings. So this is why this is so important. I mean, that's a great number of people to work with in the last 3 weeks, especially 40 different organizations that we're working with. So we need this building where we can come together, we work out of 5 different places. We're gonna bring it to one, which is a blessing. Mr. Lindsay, I already got the architect, and he met with the mayor as well, and the mayor met with the architect as well. Showed the progress and plan that we want. And what is 43,000 square feet. It's a multi-purpose business for DYS. It would house everything we got in 3 different buildings. So that way we won't have to use everybody else's facility. It'll be purpose the facility that we're in. So we're asking tonight to bring it together. You guys already got the land for us, so it's just real good. So that's what we have with this project.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion?
Brandon, I have to say this, and you're gonna be upset with me, but here's where we are. And I fully support
Yes, sir.
the new facility, and we've had that conversation.
Yes, sir.
You deserve that, well, not you deserve it. The department deserves this.
Yes, sir.
It's needed. It's, something that we have to have because we've got have a place to house our youth services department.
Yes, sir.
We also need to have them under one roof like you just spoke of. My concern is, that we've discussed this for what, the last 3 or 4 years?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And, we've not budgeted for that, have we? For this architect position, it's coming out of the unassigned fund balance, correct?
This architectural piece, yes, sir.
Yeah, and that concerns me. So while I support you 100%, I think it's important that you get this. I think that we've done a poor job of planning for this financially, so not that I am pushing back against this new building. I support that 100%. I'm pushing back against us not having a spending plan that should have been in place for this situation, okay?
All right, any other discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-213 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23-214, accept $2,500 Air Products donation for the police department.
Chief Pinion, Decatur Police Department. This is kind of a yearly thing that we accept from Air Products. $2,500 will be going towards ACES this coming year.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-214 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23-215, approved request for revocation of business license for Genesis LLC doing business as Las Villas Mexican Grill, 6th Avenue at 2224 6th Avenue Southeast, Decatur, Alabama 35601.
Yes, they did come in today and paid $4,000 towards this. They still owe $3,035.43. And after speaking to the owner's brother, he said they plan to pay the balance within 2 weeks.
Okay, and again, just to clarify, this would be conditional. They still have time until the September 5th meeting to meet those requirements, and then the council would decide what to do
Correct.
from a permanent basis at that time.
Correct.
All right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike. We have a
Second.
Second by Mr. Pepper. Any discussion? Is that, I just want to make sure is that clear? Is the owner here?
His brother's here.
Okay. Is that clear, kind of what we're doing? Okay. Just want to make sure before we vote, there's still a period of time to meet the requirements. Any other discussion? All right, roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-215 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23-216, approved purchase of vehicles for Decatur Fire and Rescue.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Nathan Springer with our city's fire department. This resolution is seeking approval to purchase 2 Ford F-150 trucks that will be added to our department's fleet.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pike, second by Mr. Pepper. Any discussion?
These are budgeted, correct, Kyle?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-216 is approved 5-0. Ordinance's first reading, ordinance 23-4566, approved model airplane club lease at landfill.
So we have the pleasure of having the Airplane Club to lease. This is a lease 2 acres from us, which is their entranceway is the gate that comes off of Highway 20. It's a 3-year lease. It will expire in 26 and will take effect October 1. It's approximately 2 acres of a concrete pad that they have access to fly their model airplanes and also for parking.
All right, this is it's a first reading.
Sorry.
Any questions? All right, thanks, Wanda. Ordinance 23-4560, approve annexation request 37423 for approximately 19.59 acres located at 2709 Beltline Road Southwest. First reading, June 20th, 2023.
This is an annexation of the pre-zoning that we heard previously, and it is the annexation of 19.59 acres located at 2709 Beltline Road. And the planning commission approved this on May 23rd, 7-0. And once again, the condition is to be met is subdivision from the county.
So moved.
Motion for Mr. Pepper.
Second.
Second for Mr. Pike. I did have someone sign in to speak if needed. Blake, do you know anyone? Okay. No one wants to speak on this one? All right. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Ordinance 23-4563 is approved 5-0. Sorry, 23-4560 is approved 5-0. Ordinance 23-4564, approved request for John Clem, MS Arts, doing business as Johnny Cab, located at 2427 Chadsworth Street Southwest, Decatur, Alabama 35603, to operate a chauffeur service on the streets of Decatur. First reading, July 17th, 2023.
And again, this is a non-metered transportation service, and he has met all requirements.
All right, we have a motion. Motion by Mr. Pepper.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Ordinance 23-4564 is approved 5-0. Boards and committees, appoint Barbara Kelly to the Architectural Review Board, term expiring March 19th, 2026.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pepper. Any discussion?
I would just point out that Ms. Kelly served previously on HPC. I think she's received some training through that, so she should be familiar when she steps on the board.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
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 Barbara Kelly is appointed to the Architectural Review Board with a vote of 5-0. And then the next one we have no vote on, just a point of information, mayoral appointment of Jerry Baker to the Housing Authority Board, term expiring August 5th, 2028. And now we'll move into the public comment we had signed up. I'll start with you, Mr. Fortin. You're good? Okay. Ms. Hoffmeyer Wilson?
So this is Rockstar Lake here. So I'll go as fast as I can, okay? So Councilor, I am here this evening to talk about citizen engagement. And what I found recently is that citizen engagement really is achievable. Councilman Hunter Pepper recently started this process for District 4 and more. Some folks came from other areas with the town hall. It was hot, but a number of people showed up, and Carlton joined us as well, so we did appreciate that. And we are collaborating together on getting feedback from folks about what's most important to them. What I'd like to talk about specifically is, I'm sure that you all remember that last August, we had the public meeting, and I would use air quotes if I didn't have my hands full. We had a public meeting for the zoning rewrite. But it was simply a presentation by the consulting firm with questions allowed only by commissioners, councilmen, and city employees. They did distribute feedback forms, and I took a picture of mine for my records, but there was no acknowledgement of our form submissions. So as far as citizens know, our concerns were not addressed. We were promised, again, this was a year ago, that an actual public forum would be held. Something similar to the one held for the Upper River Road proposed street upgrades. The engineering firm had multiple tables with plans and schematics and feedback forms. I have to tell you, the feedback mechanisms that were provided over a year ago were poor instruments and not user-friendly. There was a cumbersome online form into which citizens could enter one item per session or email comments. Again, there was no acknowledgement of receipt. In the recent Planning Commission meeting, there were again no comments allowed from citizens. My understanding is that proposed changes that were presented recently to the Planning Commission will go to council, and then you are going to, I think, hold a public hearing. But see, this is a multi-subject document. This is one document, all right, one document from July last year, and it's changed. So we need real engagement through multiple interactive, hands-on forums with feedback modalities that are user-friendly. Because without transparent engagement, this is sure to become very contentious. This rewrite is critically important for the future of Decatur, and it's really important now because we are growing so much. We need to get the rewrite as right as possible. So we just have some questions. I mean, where can we find the revision to the July 2022 rewrite draft that was recently showed at the Planning Commission? Getting it right 100% for everyone is not feasible. There will always be something that somebody finds dissatisfying, but we can get it to where the rewrite is not a source of contention. All we are asking for is a real opportunity for collaboration and discussion before barreling forward with a vote. A year has already passed, so why not take the time for real citizen engagement? Again,
We did hit 3 minutes if you can.
Okay, Councilman Pepper did this on his own with his own resources. So we can do this. We can engage citizens and make sure that we have a rewrite that we can be happy with and that we can be positively Decatur.
Thank you, Ms. Hoffmeyer Wilson. And it sounded like you had a few questions about specifically access to the amended rewrite.
Yes.
If you could either I can wait after or email those, we can point you in the right direction on all those questions, I would hope.
But I
So,
think the point is, she's not the only one, because I've gotten calls too. I've gotten calls, so I think that, yeah, it'd be nice to direct them, but I think what they're asking for is just a public breakdown, so that they, because, again, that's the conversation that I had with people who've called me, so I understand what you're saying.
I think
You
the
want more
plan,
public engagement.
Yes,
I think-
absolutely. And hot dogs.
I've never had hot dogs in my community meeting, so.
okay, thank you, and if you don't mind, we'll get you that information and we can share it on our, social media website to try to point folks in the right direction, and you can email it to the council members as well, so if they have questions from constituents. Anything else, from directors, managers? Anything else from the mayor?
Yes, sir. Mr. Lake recognized the tree crew. I think from the time the storm came through, we received 68 unique phone calls for downed trees. The crew started and worked till 4 o'clock this morning and decided to go and get some rest and come back and go back to work at 10, trying to make sure everything was cleaned up. Wanda tells me that, I think you heard tonight in her report, that 1,335 tons were delivered to the landfill today by our environmental services and our streets department. And we certainly appreciate y'all working together to help get the city cleaned up. Daniel, is there's still some work some trees to get cleaned up, or you think we got most of them, or?
I would say we got a majority of what was turned in as work orders, but as we were driving around, there's still debris in the yard. So that's gonna be coming to the streets.
Some in my yard, buddy. Yeah,
We're gonna keep going.
okay. Thank y'all, appreciate y'all.
That did go from 68 to 88 today.
Okay, thank you for sharing it.
All right, anything else, Mayor?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Anything else from council?
Yeah, I've actually got, I know everybody's ready to leave, but I got one other thing I want to bring up, and it's to Mr. Jackson's point earlier. I know we got a new mowing contractor, and a lot of things play into this. I would say that the current performance is unacceptable. I've had, probably over the last 2 weeks has been the worst, but I feel like everywhere I go, every public event I go to, the grocery store, church, a restaurant, I hear more and more about the appearance of the city. I do think that's a priority, and I agree with Mr. Jackson, although I don't necessarily agree on voting against the abatements. I do agree that we need to do better. So, Jason, maybe that question is for you and the mayor, but do we have a plan? What can we do? Because it's just downright pitiful right now.
Well, one of the things.
Jason.
One of the things you did mention that is part of the conversation is there is a new company doing that work. That company is currently Thrive. We had another company for several years before that. We have, without getting too much into it, I don't totally disagree with anything you just said. And there's a lot of people that don't disagree with what you just said. I can promise you there have been conversations with them daily, but there's also been some that have brought these issues up and asked for action points to make sure we don't keep making the same mistakes. Because what we don't want to do is we don't want somebody that gets a new contract and in the first 2 months they're getting their feet on the ground and we don't give them time to be a really good contractor. But we also don't want to take so long that we get to looking so bad that that's not what anybody wants. And I will be the first to agree with you that is really close to where we are at.
Yeah, and that's just what I rode around yesterday afternoon after the storms and was noticing a lot of it. And that was just in my district. I would be willing to bet that's across the whole city where everyone's fielding these complaints, but I do think something's got to be done. Seeing grass that tall, weeds, and even I see some areas where they have mowed, and you know, we should not be paying them for an unacceptable job. If they can't take the time to do it right, we need to find somebody else or find another plan to address it, because I don't think that's what we're getting right now. I think it's a disservice to the citizens.
I think there's some processes in place that can help remedy that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman, appreciate you bringing it up.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
All right, anything else from council?
Yeah, sorry, Shane, good to see you, buddy. Glad you're back.
You can't even see him.
He's got the screen up, it's like a minute behind.
All right, we'll stand adjourned, thanks.
All right.